Hello and welcome back to my channel, and we rejoin the characters in the Green Dragon. Bit of tinge of disappointment. They had their consultation with Kayla to discern the properties of the magic pool. Bit of a kind of drew a blank on that one. Not really a very good result. After Kayla's quite extensive preparation, which involved all sorts of horrible ingredients being taken, and going through quite an involved process, which involved quite a toll on her immediate physicality. She came up with a rather ambiguous and potentially negative consequence of the pool's discern properties, which was a minus on your dexterity. If you are the first one to jump in this pool, she could not discern any further properties, so she gave up trying to put herself through any more toil, and basically said, "Enough's enough. That's all I can discern." The characters, as I said, they were rather disappointed. They had been expecting to have a bit of a result on that, and they banked potentially an offer of giving this information to the keep and cementing a very firm alliance with the occupants, and maybe having some potential benefits from that. So that line of inquiry has been taken away, and it's also left quite a hefty bill as well, because I think it costs 450 gold pieces. Okay, so as I say, they were just a bit disappointed. However, going back to the Green Dragon, they've had an absolutely sensational evening. Roland was completely, Roland and the boys, they just blew it out of the park. It's been a fantastic night in the Green Dragon. So that's kind of wiped out any lingering down that they feel. They spring out of bed on the Saturday morning, ready for action. And they have quite a list of things to do. Now, just before, we'll do our obligatory weather check, just to make sure that we are true on the weather. Now, I did put my weather somewhere that was convenient, and I put it so convenient that I've actually forgotten where it is. I know on a 4 to 6, it is fine. So let's just see whether we get a fine anyhow. We can take that out of the equation. We do, so it's fine. Fine weather for today. That's good. Nice bright March morning in Marchton. Excuse me. We do have a bit of a list of tasks that the characters are rearing to get their teeth into and go through. First of all, they've got to heal their hit points, and they have a plan of action that they've been kind of formulating. The fact that Thudbert can do his healing, but he's going to need a bit of time to do that. On our actual hit point, the casualties that we have Thudbert down to half hit points, and Tristan in the same boat. Tristan's got the most to make up, so Thudbert's agreed that what he'll do this morning, Saturday morning, is memorize his spell and then cast that on Tristan around about noon. Also, we have our finances and the balancing of our books, and this amount of funds to transfer. So Lindris has agreed to look at that. He says, "I don't mind doing the accounting." Yeah, when it a lot of people get bored by this type of thing. I quite like it, and also to an elf, what is time? You might think, oh my goodness, I've got to spend 2 or 3 hours doing this. This just feel like seconds to me. And anyway, as I say, I quite like it, and I'll get all the everything sorted out on that score. And they say, that's excellent, Lindris. It's exactly what we wanted. Someone that does all the mapping and then does all the accounting for us too. Terrific. Also, we want to do a transaction to sell our items. So so we've got Dagobert on healing. We've got Lindris on bookkeeping. We'll have Anarian and Tristan on the sale, and they're going to go up to Thudbert's, and they're going to allow Anarian to do a bit of negotiation because they had talked about that. So they're going to get these guys to do a bit of selling. And also, at the back of their mind, they also have a few bits of surplus equipment, and they've also got to restock on some of their items. So the fact that Lindris now has Dark Slayer, which is a broadsword, a magic broadsword +2, he doesn't need his longsword anymore, so we could get rid of that and sell that. Also, we need to stock up on our arrows. We need to do that. And also, Lindris said as part of his services, he'll do a kind of inventory check, just to make sure that we've got all the equipment we need. And remember, I was saying that Thudbert offers a service a bit like Amazon. It does a kind of sort of mail delivery thing. You can put an order in on sort of basic items. So we might come up with a bit of a list for that and get that to come down. And then, you know, because when the guys go up to Thudbert's, they're not really going to get involved in some of the detailed equipment purchasing. It's more to do with their headline items like this tray and the belt. You know, anything that was like a magic item or something that requires direct negotiation. On the back of that, they're very keen to start up their plans and aspirations about what to do next. And they think that one of the key things that they think they need to get in place to do any further exploration is to get another recruit into the party. And they've kind of debated it, and they thought, well, we could have Adalind or we could have Clothar. You know, when they actually balanced it up, they thought, let's go for Adalind because we do have a relationship with her. And also, we know that she's going to have maybe some good offensive spell capability that we can bring in. We need some more like heavy artillery type weaponry in our kit bag. Let's see if we can recruit Adalind. She's got the inside track on Darkwater, and that's kind of where we want to go to next. So we're going to try and make an offer on that score. And on the back of that, there is a potential to visit the keep. And we've got all this information about the halflings that we discerned in Dunmorna. So we were quite keen to get that into the public domain and see Eridan, and also see whether Eridan has any other missions coming through on what I call the Seaward mechanic, the state-sponsored missions. He might have something that is coming up. So that is a bit of a list for today, but you know, we'll see how far we can get through it. And hopefully I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible, because it just basically sounds like a lot of kind of admin. But you know, we've got to kind of recruit Adalind, so that should be quite interesting. And Thudbert's always a good turn when we go and see him and see how our negotiations go. So we're up early on Saturday morning with this plan of action in mind. We have a kind of schedule of events. We've checked the weather. Dagobert goes off and he starts memorizing his healing spell, dreaming about the armor that he could get while he's thinking about, well, I've got to heal Tristan in the short term. Anarian and Tristan, they head off to Thudbert's. They are briefed to get the best price possible for this tray and the belt, the fancy belt that they've found in Dunmorna. And also maybe if they can do a bit of feelers out on the availability of some of the armor types that Dagobert might be interested in. You know, the lead time for things like chainmail is like around about 45 days if you have an armorer. So, you know, it could take a while. You're not just going to get off the peg like a suit or something. This almost has to be made to order. So, you know, we could have a bit of problems trying to source any decent armor for Dagobert. And then Lindris is just going to get on with the accounting and the finance. So I think let's start with the least exciting and work upwards. So the least exciting will be obviously the accounting and finance, but at the same time, I can show you some of the stuff to do that we've done on the experience. So let's look at the experience first. And I've got the summary of how we've done our experience summary. And it's, when you think about it, we've now got a party of 4. So I have up to the end of Adventure 3, the last one where we had with the kobolds, I had a total of 3,265, and this is just purely experience points generated from slaying monsters and the treasure that we've been able to extract and turn into experience. And between the 3 of us, we had 3,265 at the end of what I call Adventure 3, the one down Dunmorna. In our recent escapade, we have been able to add on another 643 and potentially another circa 100 if we can get something for the tray and the belt. And that's made up of, we've got the Shrieker that we had, this quite tough Shrieker, 18 hit points it was in the end. It's got a special ability of doing the kind of red alert type stuff. It was 104 experience in the end. That was quite good. The Rock Grub, even though it was a tiny little 1 hit point creature, it still gets a basic, and also it gets a little special. So that was 8 hit points. There's nothing much to write home about. But, you know, it was a nasty little encounter that could have gone quite easily the wrong way. And then the rats, we actually killed out of 3 parties of giant rats, which is quite extraordinary when you think of it. One after the other, we were getting giant rats. But you know, that's just one of the joys of a random dungeon. Sometimes it can, you know, can almost appear non-random and almost like it's got a mind of its own. We killed 18. We got a basic of 90. The special was the fact that it could pass on disease. So and actually, after all those fights with the rats, we got 231 experience points. So if we get a total, we got just shy, we'll just have round about 4,000 experience. Now, majority of that will go between the 3 characters, and just in the tail end, this bit here will be an Aryan. So, you know, if you look at, say it is around about 4,000, and 4,000 divided by, where is my calculation? Here it is. So 4,000 divided by 3. You know, we're still not exactly doing it on getting to, like, even Thudbert needs 1,500 on his first. So, you know, we're just not, you know, there's something not happening. And, you know, either we're not slaying big enough monsters, or we're just not hauling enough treasure. We're going to have to maybe raise the ante a wee bit. So I'm hoping that this dark water, and I can put in all my thematic stuff and kind of special treasures and that sort of thing, might be able to inject a wee bit of impetus to our experience looking. So that was an experience summary, and obviously this is unknown to the characters. So they just know, I suppose you just have perception as a player character that you are starting to feel a bit more kind of, yeah, I can feel a bit more kind of with it, and I understand things better, and you know, I can use this sword a bit better and that type of stuff. I suppose that is how they experience more experience. And then Lindris is going to do the finances, and his latest add to our tally is the Adventure 4 with the gold. We got 300 gold pieces. We're still to wait the tray and the belt, the resolution on that. So that's probably going to be probably under 100, but let's see how an Aryan gets on. And then the halfling information, you know, who knows how much that's gonna be. And then he also he says to Fredigar and Seymour, he says, we've got a transfer we've got to make up to the keep. We went and did a transaction with Kayla last night. I need 450 gold pieces to be transferred up. Could that be arranged? And they say, of course, Lindris. So basically, we're left with a balance without any of the these two items here of 11,530. So, not a massive balance, but certainly enough to keep our head above water. And we've also paid for our lodging for a month. So we've got to the end of the month, and the rate of my campaign's going. I think that 300 gold pieces is going to last us for a while because we're only halfway through the month. So I don't. In the short term, they've got absolutely nothing to worry about on the finances side. So Lindris is quite happy, just beavering away, doing all that. He does a quick inventory. He thinks, well, my longsword, I don't need that anymore. I've got this fantastic blade, Dark Slayer. And I suppose this is a question on the encumbrance. Do magic weapons weigh as much as originals? Because on Lindris's entry, on his yeah, here we go. We've got Lindris here, and he's got this longsword. Now that weighs 60 gold pieces, according to, or I've got £6 here, but 60 gold pieces. Does if we replace it with a broadsword, which I think is, according to this, the broadsword, the weight in gold pieces is broadsword 75. It's just a bit heavier, so that'd be 7.5. Do magic weapons weigh as much as normal weapons? And I haven't really tried to look too hard so far, but I'm sure I've seen some. I know maybe magic armor weighs a bit less. Elfin chainmail certainly does. I've seen that, but I'm just wondering whether anybody knows whether your magic weapons they weigh the same, or do we get a benefit as well? And is it stated anywhere in the player's handbook or the Dungeon Master's Guide? I've got a feeling that there is something. I just got at the back of my mind, but I just can't remember seeing it anywhere. So that would be interesting, because what the trouble with Lindris was, he was right on the edge of his encumbrance, because he had chainmail, which turned him into quite a formidable, a defensive animal. But he's right on the cusp, and he needs to almost like weigh up the odds, whether he can, because it'd be quite nice to have a sword that doesn't really weigh too much. So that's kind of where he's coming from. And then he realizes that we've got to do a few things. We've got to make Dagobert happy, because we're probably going to have to get him an oil flask or two. So, and this is what Lindris is doing. He's just really going through all our stuff and thinking, right, okay, what are we going to maybe need? What do we need to replace? We've been going through these spikes like nobody's business. We're really going to need some more spikes. And what would be quite nice, Tristan was having a bit of an issue with his I was going to say his tools when it came to taking the hinges off these doors. And if we come across anything like that again, we could really do with quite a robust little toolkit. And Tristan should really have that as part of his thieves toolkit. But maybe we need some more robust type bits of equipment, like hammers and levers and crowbars and that sort of stuff. So he's thinking all this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I've got this as a bullet point to take away, and really go through in quite a bit of detail and tidy up all their equipment now that we've done about 3 or 4 adventures, and just tighten up on the encumbrance and come up with an exact numbers where they are. And now we've got an Aryan in the equation too, and he's got quite a lot of encumbrance. So he's got all these items here that he's got a tinderbox and spikes and stuff. So we've got between us we've got loads and loads of stuff. It's just it's maybe a bit disorganized just now. It just needs to be tightened up. I don't have to do that. You'll be glad to know I don't have to do that in front of you. I can do all that behind the scenes, and maybe just show you the results like I've done on the finances. Okay, right. Next on the list on our schedule of events was having an Aryan and Tristan. They're trotting on up. We'll get our little town map again. And I always refer to Marchton as a town. I suppose it's like a little town. It's 600. It's really a village. but I always got the feeling it's just like a town. It's got enough stuff in it to be a town because of all the things that they keep. And that's ridiculous. Where is my March to, oh, here we go, March to map. Okay, so we come out the Green Dragon, we get into the village square, lovely morning. Yeah, people are starting to turn their heads a wee bit and thinking, oh, there's that ranger. You know, he seems to be part of this new party. He seems to have settled in quite nicely. He seems to be quite buddy with our local boy Tristan. He can't be that bad for a ranger. We better give him a bit of a break. So you know, that's maybe just a kind of nod to him that he's rangers they're not that bad really. After all that, so they charge through the merchant quarter into the artisan quarter, and we end up in Thudbert's, which is round about this little bit here. And we come through the door. Thudbert's there. There's boy 1 and boy 2 being shouted at. You know, come on, boy 1, get this down from that shelf. And boy 2, where are you? Dawdling around. So you know, Thudbert's doing his usual. He's just being a bit obstreperous with the boy 1 and boy 2. But you know, that's what these domestic staff have to tolerate in these medieval times. So you know, we've got the chaps come in. He says, "Oh, morning, Tristan. And who is this fine young fellow with you? He looks like one of these rangers from the north. Is he?" And Tristan says, "Morning, Thudbert. Yes, this is my good friend and acquaintance, and a member of our party, Anarian Emberheart. He is a worthy ranger of the north. He is coming with me to pass on some information about items that we have taken from this place, this Dunmorna." And he said, "Oh, you've been back to Dunmorna again? My goodness, you really like really like that place." And we say, "Well, it's not that we like it. It's just that it's a good place to maybe go and get some treasure and items." And yeah, we've really hit the jackpot today, Thudbert. And then Anarian sort of comes over and says, "Yes, I'm particularly fond of this," and he brings out the tray, and he says, "Look at the ornate work on this. You know, it really is very special." And I am actually sporting another item that we got from the dungeon. Does it not suit me?" And he does a bit of a turn. He's got this belt on with all the gems and whatever. And Thudbert goes, "Whoa, that's quite impressive." So Thudbert is being kind of bowled over a wee bit by our showmanship and maybe our negotiating skills. And the team of Tristan and Anarian are doing a fantastic job in doing basically Thudbert's job. However, Thudbert, being a wily operator, he's never on the back foot. He's always on the front, and he will turn an opportunity into something that he can grasp with both hands. And he thinks, right, I really fancy that belt and I want that tray. I'm going to get the best price possible for it. So I'm going to use all my acumen, my business acumen, to do that. So we'll get our little reckoner out. We'll do our negotiation. Now the negotiation mechanic works like this. We will just basically do the reaction. So on the racial side, we have Anarian taking the lead. And remember, Anarian is treated like he is a foreigner. So he will get a 0 as a +0 for reaction. And then on his charisma, now that is a different story, because if we get our player's handbook out, and we know that Anarian has a charisma of, 16, which is the best in the party, by quite a margin, because I think Dagobert is on a 13, and we've been using Dagobert for negotiations and being our kind of spokesman. But Anarian really has, we've hit the jackpot on Anarian. We've got 16, and when he comes to a reaction adjustment, he gets a plus 25%. So that is a real, so even though we've got this racial thing, that they're all treated like foreigners because he's a ranger, we do have a plus 25%. So that's a good start. And then we don't have any social thing because Thudbert isn't really into that kind of stuff. Our alignments aren't really too much to talk about. And I don't think that's going to do anything. And again, it's not a subject that is really kind of put on display. You know, if Minari was a paladin, maybe that, you know, or a druid or something. You know, these are kind of known things. But you know, as far as Thudbert's concerned, you know, an Aryan could be anything really, any alignment. So that doesn't count. We do have Thudbert's skills to take into account. Now he's got Servile, which we've viewed as customer service, which is going to be a positive for him. So that will be a minus on our reaction test. And he also has well spoken. So he's a very smooth salesman, very articulate. Which again will be a minus for him. So that'll be 2 1-2-8s that we can take off. So if I get my dice, we've currently got plus 25%. So because of Anarian's basically his ability to really, I suppose not charm, but really be very persuasive and credible. So that's a 7, minus 7. For a servile, and then for well-spoken is a 6. So that's 13. So 13. So that's plus 12. So it's a plus 12 to the reaction. And remember on the results of this, if it's negative, it'll be minus 30 that we can get on the negotiation. If it's neutral, it's minus 20, and if it's positive, it's either 0 discount or up to minus 10, depending on the level of positivity. So let's get our percentage dice out. We'll get our Dungeon Master's Guide at the relevant table, 60, page 63. Get our percentage dice ready. Yeah, we're ready to go. So we'll add 12 to this for Thudbert. We get, what is that? That's a 60. So that's 72. So 72 is uncertain, but 55% prone towards positive. So if we get a 55%, and because it's prone to positive, I would say that it's only going to be a minus 10% to the thing. So yes, it is. It's prone to positive. So at the end of that negotiation, Thudbert says, yes, I really fancy that belt. You know, that looks terrific. And this tray is amazing. If I offer you fine fellows a 10% discount on that, would that feel satisfactory? And we go, yes, Thudbert, that is excellent. You know, we're really quite satisfied with that. So we are looking for the tray was 50 and the belt was 50. So minus 10% on that, so that's 100 in total. We're going to be given 90. So that is a real result for the chaps. You know, obviously it wasn't perfect, but you know, we really got quite a lot out of it. It could have been we got 70 if it'd been a hostile reaction, and the standard is that we would have only got 80. So the fact that we've made an extra 10, it maybe slightly compensates for the fact that we've had to shell out 450 gold pieces the night before. You know, let's not try to go there. So that, I think that was good. So the chaps are quite happy. That hasn't taken too long. So, you know, they maybe got a bit of time just to kind of wander around the thing. They do say to Thudbert, we're quite interested in restocking some of our stuff. You know, I understand that you do a special service with the Green Dragon. He says, oh yes, if you just write down your order, we can make sure that that's picked. I use boy 1 and boy 2 to go through this picking list, And if we do have it in stock, and also I do have a relationship with some of the other market traders, and also with the Keep, that I do have access to specialized bits of equipment, and even when it comes to arms and weaponry, I also do that. And we say, my goodness, this really is an emporium, a wonderful emporium, Thudbert, that you run here. And he says, well, I do try to offer as many services as I can at the best possible price, and that is my motto. That is what my business, which we strive to please. So they say, great, this is turning into a fantastic resource for us in Marchton. We do have one of our members who is not present today, usually our spokesperson, Dagobert, the cleric of Bane. He is looking for an upgrade to his armor because we feel that he's a bit deficient in that, in protection. And he says, well, armor is quite a rare thing in Marchton. And I do have relationship with Torval, who's up in the Keep. He's the only skilled armorer that we have. So what kind of suit were you interested in? Chainmail, we were saying. That's going to be quite a lead time. Maybe I could have a word with Torval and see what we can do about that. And I go, that's excellent. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much, Thudbert. It's been a pleasure doing business. And he says, that's fine. That's all part of the service. So we are done with Thudbert. So that's the third thing off our list, or the second thing. The other thing that we were doing was, Dagobert is in contemplation in the Green Dragon. He's memorizing his spell. Tristan and Anarion come back. Dagobert has come out of seclusion. He goes over to Tristan. He says, by the power of Bane, I heal you. And immediately Tristan feels a lot better. Let's see how much better he does. Now remember, Tristan was his hit points were 9, and he was down to 5. So he's looking for 4 hit points to be healed. So Dagobert is hoping that his healing powers are strong, at least over 50% of what they should be. So it is, yes. Tristan bounces up and he feels, yes, I feel fantastic now. Thank you, Dagobert. Aren't you a great resource? Not only are you our leader, but you lay your hands on us and cure us of all these ailments. And Anarion says, well, I've basically got some flesh wounds. I've got some little bites. I could probably heal naturally. If you're really feeling up to it, Dagobert, you can do it. But I can take it. He's got that kind of sort of wry smile on his face. He's taken 2 hit points of damage, so that's going to take him 2 days. And I'm thinking that resting, on the healing. My view is that you can do just like normal, very light activities. So the fact that they've been doing this negotiation, they've been walking around town, I would say that that's almost like convalescing a wee bit. If you compare it to like jumping about in combat or casting spells or anything that's very draining and physically demanding, I think that's probably quite light duties. So I'm just going to say you can heal while you do other things. So like, and I don't really want to preclude characters and have them hold up. Malor, who he was our other example of someone who has been injured so far. I'm saying that he had quite a serious injury because he almost like broke his leg. In fact, he probably did break his leg. So he's had to be laid up in his room. But someone like Anarion, especially if he's just got like a flesh wound, like this rat, these couple of rat bites. I think it's perfectly okay for him to be wandering around town and taking in the fresh air, convalescing that way. Okay, so we are up to the Adalind encounter, I think, and what Dagobert did while the chaps were up in Thudbert's he had a quite quiet word with Fredegar, and he said, "We would like to have a talk with one of your other guests, Adalind, the magic user. Um, could you pass her this note?" And Dagobert has scribbled down a couple of lines just to say, um, we just returned from Dunmorna. Following on from our previous conversation, we'd be very keen to have a talk with Adalind. Would it be convenient for her to see us at midday today? So that gets passed on to Adalind. Now, the characters, they're having lunch back in the Green Dragon. Um, the chaps have come back from Thudbert's and they're saying, yeah, we got top dollar or almost top dollar. Dagobert says, that's terrific. Well done. You've done a good job there. Lindris comes down. He says, right, I've done the inventory. I've got all the finances sorted out. We're all square. He gives them the lowdown on the finances. Once they've woken up and taken in that information, because it's a wee bit heavy going. Lindris is going into quite a bit of detail. They enjoy a nice lunch. It's got stews on. It's making a nice smell. Maybe some of those grouse have been put into the stew. Or maybe it's a fish stew from the Long Lake trout. That is used for all sorts of things in the Green Dragon. Whatever it is, it's very tasty, and there's a lot of like labourers and some of the workers, and they come in and have their lunch too. So it's quite a communal and cozy little atmosphere. And then Adalind comes down these stairs. We greet her. Actually seems very. She's actually looking very refreshed, and she's actually got a smile on her face. She's usually looking a bit dour and down. And it looks as though that a few days of being rested up. And it's almost like taking years off her, and she looks very refreshed and much of a lighter mood. And it's almost like internally she's made a decision about certain things in her life, and it's almost like a weight has been lifted. So the characters are very keen to have a discussion with her, and they invite her over to. It's not really good having that on there. Invite her over to the little table. So we'll just have this set up. So we table here. And I think I've got an Adalind. I think we had her as orange last time. So the chaps are all sitting around. We introduce her again also to an Arian if she hasn't seen him already. We say, well, since we have spoken with you, Adalind, we have recruited a member to our party, this ranger. He is called an Arian. We do all the introductions and whatever, and she says, "Oh yes, I've seen you, Anarian, in the Green Dragon. I think you arrived earlier on this week." And he said, "Yes, I did. It is nice to meet you." So we have all these little pleasantries, and then Dagobert says, "Well, actually, Adalind, let's maybe just cut to the chase. We are now in a position where we have, in terms of adventuring." We have been on at least 4 delves into the Dunmorna Palace. We have extracted and gained some treasures from that. You can see the sword that Lindris has that he's wearing. And also we have certain other items that we have managed to sell. We view ourselves as being quite a successful little party now, and also the fact that we've managed an Arian on, we feel a very strong unit. However, we do feel we are still deficient in our complement, and we would love it if you would join us in our venture. You also have some very interesting information, because we have decided that Darkwater Lake and the temple in the middle on the island is a destination we would like to go and explore, and you have information, and we offer you the opportunity to come with us. And she said, well, that's very interesting, Dagobert. I'm quite flattered by this whole thing. But what can you offer me? And they said, well, we can, the fact that we are a successful group. We also, we combine all these abilities. We've got our ranger who has outdoor skills, and we think combined with your inside knowledge of the location of this place, we could get to there very effectively and maybe avoid any troubles. And also, as an enticement for our first venture, we have decided to offer you the choice of any treasure that we take out. So if we come across magic items or any specific things like maybe a gem or whatever, you can have the choice of that, whatever you desire. And she thinks this is a very generous offer, Dagobert. Let me consider it. So on that basis, I think we can do our little reaction test, and we can hopefully end on a positive. But let us see. So the information we had about Adalind from last time was we had. Let's get my notepad up here so I can write it down in view. We had we had a racial aspect. We'll continue to have Dagobert doing the interaction and just we're not going to get an Aryan involved maybe at this stage in it, because that's just going to make it more complex. And also the characters, the three core characters, have the relationship, and Dagobert specifically has this direct relationship with Adalind. We've got the race +10. We've got the reaction bonus that Dagobert has of +5. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of a social difference because she is of minor nobility and she's a bit haughty, and we aren't. So we've got a -5 penalty. From last time, we had a +10 because of Dagobert's empathy. And I think that we just carry that over from our last encounter. So I'll put that down as a special, an empathy. And then based on her current demeanor, she with her attitude and her positivity, and it's almost like I think when she almost confides with Dagobert as they are talking about maybe some of the opportunities ahead, that she has basically forsaken Baldur. They really have almost like fallen out. She doesn't see Baldur as being a good leader. His alignment is too contradictory, and he's not consistent in his leadership. She really feels that she needs a group of characters that she can trust and gel with, and work as a team that is functional rather than the dysfunctional one that she's in just now. So on that basis, I would say that as a special, we'd have +10 to 20. So if I get the D6 out, and we'll work out how big a bonus this is. So it's a +15, I would say, because of that. So our special is +15. So what's that? So that's plus, that neutralizes itself, +10, +20, +35. And then we've got her characteristics, and she's got perceptive, which is a positive, and she's got aloof, which is a negative. So we'll do the positive first. We'll do a perceptive. Just roll that with my hand, which was minus. So that's a +3. And then on the negative, the aloof, -3. So nothing. So that blanks itself out. So we have a +35% on the reaction roll. So how enamoured is Adalind to our advances, and how serious seriously or receptively does she take our offer? Let's just find out. We will get our percentage dice. And the thing I was talking about Adalind, we've got all those, she's actually quite a well fleshed out NPC, because we do have quite a bit of information about her already. We'd already done her characteristics, her stats, because I jotted them down in my folder. If I can just quickly get to where she is. We definitely had. I definitely had some information about Adalind. It is here somewhere. I'm sure I just saw it just a minute ago. Maybe I should pause the camera while I do this. Yes, here it is. Adalind, age 38. We've got all these stats here. It's a very, very strong set of statistics. Intelligence is high, so is strength. Wisdom is amazing. Dexterity is very good. Our only downside is maybe her charisma. She's maybe a wee bit, she's not a natural leader. But yeah, she is. And I had this special thing that I was going to make her spell capability better, because I was going to do a best of 3 on her random spells. So hopefully we could get some good spells. So I think that would just really help us with our overall adventuring team, having this magic user. Lindris is a magic user, but he hasn't really used his magic user side that much, apart from maybe the whole portal. He is conscious himself. He has to try and focus a bit more on the magic side. Maybe by having another magic user in a symbiotic relationship, maybe they can help each other a bit. Who knows? Let's see how that relationship. But I suppose the main thing is we've got to actually find out, is this going to happen or not? So we have a plus 35% to this. So what's it going to be? Oh, wow. That's a 95. So 95 plus 35. That's 130. Is that the highest we've had? I can't honestly remember. 130. So, well, I know 130 on the thing. That's basically off the chart. So if we do our little lap of victory, and I get my pink folder out, which is got all my guidelines and my notes. Get our little matrix. Our matrix of success has been recently on the reaction side. Here we go. Friendly, enthusiastically friendly, that's what it would be. Becomes ally, yes. Agrees to negotiation or deal, yes. Falls in love, smitten, no. Although 130, maybe she is starting to fall for an Aryan. He's a good looking chap. But it would not end well. There's too much of an age gap maybe between them. Friend for life. I think she is. She basically says, yes, I accept the offer. I would be delighted to join your party, Dagobert. I have, as you say, information about Darkwater Lake. I've been there. I know how to get there. I can show you on a map. If I give this information to Anarian, I'm sure he'll be able to understand it and put it to good use and come up with a cunning way to get through the wilds. Also, I have the initial causeway information where we found the causeway and some of the treacherous rocks that were lying in wait for us. Thereafter, I know nothing. However, I know how to get you to the location. We go, yes, that's exactly the type of information we've got. And also, we'd love to have a bit more of a chat about what your backstory is and where you come from and all that sort of thing. Maybe we can sort that out on the next episode. So yeah, I think we're just going to leave that there just now. We end on a success. We've now got 5 in our party. We've got Adalind at last. It's been quite a long wooing We've had a few exchanges with Adalind. The first one was a bit frosty. She wasn't really too happy with us. But at that stage, she was part of Balder's group, and it seemed to be all kind of cooking on gas then, and it's turned rather sour. The second time, she was just smarting after that rather unfortunate event going to Darkwater Lake, and she maybe was feeling a bit vulnerable. Now she has maybe recovered. She's got back to her old self, her old Adalind self. She is making decisions on her own terms, and she's decided, yes, this is the opportunity for me. I'm going to take it. So I'm going to end on a positive. Next time, we're going to get into more detail about Adalind first and find out exactly what her capabilities are. And I will happily add her to our party inventory. So I'm quite happy about that. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.